The problem with doing this is the Gladius is so damn fast at acceleration. When I get close to him, I'm about to ram him every time.
Yeah, that procedural damage iteration,
Hey, what's up everybody? Here, and we're going to be doing the single player campaign of Freelancer. Yeah, I know, Freelancer 2003. We are going back on this one. But really, when it comes to Star Citizen is, the spiritual successor of Freelancer. It's quite literally the game that Freelancer promised to be, at the turn of the century. And it's kind of, I don't know, not quite foreshadowing, but it is interesting in that really everything that Star Citizen promises, very little of it was not promised in Freelancer. Multi-crewed ships, weren't, but a lot of the concepts, a lot of the ideas, come straight from Freelancer. So we'll talk about Freelancer. It was a game Chris Roberts headed up after they all left Origin. They found a digital anvil, and this was their second title after Starlancer. Development started at some point in 1997, and it became public by 99, 2000. Freelancer was already public knowledge. There were problems with development. The scope was just too big. It was, ultimately probably beyond their monetary and resources and the amount of time and talent they could put into it. The digital anvil got bought out by Microsoft. Microsoft obviously put capital into it, but part of that was Chris Roberts gave up, the lead chair on this project, and the project was greatly downsized, from what it was originally intended. But it was finished. It was released in early 2003. Now it would be considered abandonware by most people. Microsoft, the game has not been for sale in many years, many years. It's probably not going to be on sale just because of the effort you have to put into getting it to run, more or less modern, and it's a bit buggy, but it's not too bad. It's definitely playable, especially with a little bit of work. Even the multiplayer servers were cut off many years ago, 2008, sometime in 08. But all of that, the thing that has really given Freelancer legs is the community and the fact that you can mod. You can do almost anything. I mean, anything you can dream of, you can do in Freelancer. It's almost an open slate, as it has become over the years. To the point where, the multiplayer is all community driven now. The master server lists are done by the community. There is still actually a very active amount of people playing Freelancer multiplayer, and it's kind of fitting after all these years. There's a lot of games people play on Origin and Steam, but you never really get the multiplayer experience because there's not that many people playing, no more than a few dozen. But there's actually a good number of people that play this, more than on most Steam games, Origin games, to be frank, which is good. One of the sad things when the game came out was it tended to be static. It was one of the best things you can do in these games is, have that dynamic economy, have it, really driven where you interact with it, and you're not just doing the same old trade runs all over again. And around the time it seems like that the multiplayer matchmaking servers, Microsoft cut them off and we all went to player run matchmaking. Some enterprise and modders came up with a dynamic economy for this, so a lot of your total conversions and really high-end mods now run that on multiplayer, which is great. It really is fantastic. It adds a lot to the game. And they work the same way economies do in most other games. They look at what's being traded, and then after a set period of time they adjust, plain and simple. We're going to be doing single player. Now, we do have mods in this we should go over with. None that really affect gameplay. So obviously, this being, a 4K 60 video that we're recording, we have modded you know, with HUD shift, we have modded the resolution. Ultimately, the text is resized because it doesn't scale well, or if at all, natively. I might derp a little bit on some of the font sizes, but you know, it should be pretty good, you know, pretty close. We're running the swag HD textures. We have more HD textures put on top of that. We have cruise mod, so you know the cruise speed in the game is going to be, you know, probably 4 times faster than normal. So that poses some interesting dilemmas. But you know, we just want to get through the game. You know, we don't want to sit and have to wait endlessly on cruising for nothing. And you can see we've pushed the visual range out a lot. The level of detail is set pretty much to, for very small objects, 8K, which is farther than you'll see them, and for large objects like this station, at least 50K out. So that's actually pretty good. And you can see the HD texture packs look pretty decent. And there's even mods that, you know, remodel a lot of things, put a lot more polygons into the game. But we'll get into it. It's pretty interesting because this is a single-threaded game, and you know, we're running it on the 6 core here, but you know, it's single-threaded. Game came out in 2003, and you know, this is just a plug for NVIDIA. Game is out in 2003. NVIDIA SLI releases in 2004 in split frame rendering. You know, that's the old, never used rendering anymore because it's so slow with all the overhead. And then after split frame rendering, you know, a while later, you know, we had alternate frame rendering, which is what we have now. And yeah, it works. All 3 modes work. And this is 2015. I mean, how cool is that? You know, I can run with 2 980s, 4K, max out everything. It's, you know, pretty much as far as we can. We can turn the SLI anti-aliasing on, which is almost never used. It is the most beautiful anti-aliasing you've ever seen. But I think with that, that's enough talking about the game. We'll watch the cutscenes, you know, watch the intros, watch the cutscenes, and we'll have at it. So, cheers.